Hey everybody, Tanya Diamond, and I'm back in this short video series I'm doing about getting unstuck. And for 25 years, I've been helping people get unstuck in life, love, and money. And if you haven't watched the first video, go down, click the link, and do that, because otherwise you're going to think, what is she talking about? Today, as I promised, I'm going to show you some scientific proof about how powerful our subconscious mind is and how it can be used for good or evil. In this case, evil just means keeping us stuck. Nothing nefarious. Okay, so here's the deal. We are, as I said before in the first video, patterned and programmed for just about everything. But did you know that even what you might think your personality is could be programmed and patterned, like introvert, extrovert, shy, anxious, not? So chemistry, what you think of personality traits, behavior, all of these things can actually be programmed and patterned. And most people don't believe this, but I was a super shy and anxious kid. And that's not how I am anymore, but that's because I used the tools to change the way I am so that I could do the things that I wanted to do instead of sit there and be too scared to be on video. All right, how powerful are our belief systems? How powerful is this program that we have? Well, let me tell you right now, it's so powerful that it can affect your health, your chemistry in your body. It can help, it can hinder you from getting better from things that you might want to get better from as far as behaviors that you have. Check this out. 25 years of teaching this blows me away every single time. When a child, now this happens rarely, but we have the power that if we were traumatized as a child to be able to disassociate from that trauma. Now, many people understand about disassociation because a lot of us do it whenever we're freaked out about something. We kind of check out or get numb. That's a form of it, but it can be so extreme that the person can actually create another person within them. So an alter. Used to be called multiple personality disorder. Now it's DID, dissociative identity disorder. Okay, now here's the deal with that. The brain is trying to keep you safe. It can't handle the trauma or what's actually going on, so it splits off to create another person who can handle it. And when I say another person, I'm not just talking about, outside appearance or affect or how the person dresses. I'm talking about internally, and this blows my mind. A different alter can have a different physical appearance, emotional, and medical traits, and it happens in an instant. Vision can change from one to the next, allergies, the way meds are processed, blood pressure, and some disorders even like diabetes or heart anomalies. Think about that for just 1 second. Take one moment and think about the fact that in one moment, that looks like the same person, not really, can be diabetic, and in an instant, not be. We have that kind of power. Now, okay, you're saying, Tanya, what up? I don't believe you. Okay, so here's a doctor you can go check out. I'm going to do a quote right now from the New Yorker article about this doctor who studies this. And he says that the lessons for psychobiology and multiple personality is that any given personality has its biological underpinning, a specific pattern of mental and biological states. And this guy is Dr. Frank Putnam. He's a psychiatrist at the Laboratory of Developmental Psychology at the National Institute of Health. He goes on to say, in a sense, there's a biological self that corresponds to the psychological self. So as the psychological self shifts, so does the biological. That means that any given state of consciousness has its biological reality. By keeping these states separate and distinct, the patient can biologically separate themselves. I'm going to say that one part again. Biological self that we can actually create by shifting our psychology, a new separate biological self within, which means that we can change our chemistry. One can be depressed and the other not. One can be, like I said, diabetic and the other not. That is amazing. Our brain has the power to change our physical, emotional, and mental chemistry in an instant. Now, I understand. That's like, wow. I had the ability, because I understood this when I was diagnosed with an incurable illness, I was able to use that very understanding to actually shift out of the illness that I had and be one of the first recorded cured cases. So I know this stuff works. We are all that powerful. The power is within ourselves. Now, I also understand that for some people, you're sitting there going, yeah, I don't believe that. Okay, I get it. And if you don't believe it, then quite frankly, probably anything I say from now on is not going to matter to you. And I understand that too, and that's okay. For those of you who are willing to actually open up to the possibility that maybe some of this stuff is true, and maybe you do have the potential, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Because there are a lot of studies that show exactly how our brain has that kind of power, exactly how we can harness the amazing potential that we don't use and use it for the things that we want to use it for. Now look, I'm just talking about getting unstuck here. I'm talking about being able to take your brain and your subconscious mind and program and pattern it, instead for all these things that are useless to us, in fact are harming us most of the time, to be exactly how we want it to be. To program it so that we're a morning person who gets up and loves life and goes out and kicks serious butt and does the things we want, that we can find the love we want, that we can find the ease to make money that we want, that we can get out of those sabotaging patterns of whether it's clutter or toxic relationships or how about, I had a friend who before she used to go to, every year before Thanksgiving, she would get sick. I mean, really sick. And so I asked her one year, because I'd seen this happen like 4 years in a row. I go, what's up with that? And she goes, what do you mean? And I said, right before you go to your parents for Thanksgiving, you get really sick every single year. And she goes, really? And I'm like, yeah. I said, do you like going to your parents? And she goes, no, I hate it. And I'm like, okay, so what happens when you get sick? She goes, well, when I go and I'm sick, I just get to, it's okay for my parents if I just spend the weekend in bed. And or that holiday in bed. She goes, because when we're sick at our house, we just tuck in and we watch TV and people give us soup. And I'm like, wow, so you mean if you weren't sick, you would have to be out with the rest of the family interacting with everybody? And she goes, yo, yeah, and that's horrible. I'm like, hey, how about you just don't go to Thanksgiving? Well, the next year when she actually gave herself mental permission to not go to Thanksgiving, she didn't get sick. That's how powerful our brain is. It is. I just want you to understand that. Now, I also talked about how if we're not in alignment in the last video with things, that it's really difficult to change. So what I want you to do is I actually want you to grab a pen and paper, and there's a quick exercise I want you to do to get ready for the next video. And that is, I want you to understand what your values and your needs are, because unless we're aligned in a certain way, we don't make changes very easily. Our subconscious and conscious mind fight each other. So grab a pen and paper, and I want you to write down, first of all, write down like 3 or 4 things that you're stuck in. They don't have to be epic, okay? And whatever your pattern is around them, maybe you're thinking now, wow, okay, I realize I have a bunch, all right? But I want you to write down your 6 top values. Oh, that's 6. Your 6 top values and your 6 top needs. And the needs are not the survival need ones, but the other needs, emotional needs. Write those down, because here is the thing. There's a recipe to live in what I call your true freedom instead of your programmed and patterned self, which is what most people are living in. But to live in true freedom, here's the deal. All parts of you have to be in alignment with your authentic self. And remember I said you need to have awareness of your patterns in the last video? If you don't know who you are, how the heck do you even make decisions? So we've got to find out who our authentic self is, the person who isn't programmed and patterned. We need to understand and live our true values, part of why you're going to do this exercise. You need to understand and live your true needs. And you have to align your beliefs with your values and your needs and your authentic self. Now, that sounds complicated. It's not quite as complicated as it sounds. You just need some tools. I'm going to help you see those tools in our next video. So stay tuned, come back, check it out. In the meantime, write down some of those things. You can actually write them down in the bottom if you want in the comments so I can check them out. Or just write them down on a piece of paper at home and come back. So our brain's powerful. It is keeping us stuck in programs and patterns. And we have the ability to change that and make our brain be a superpower changing machine so that we can actually create the changes we want easily, effortlessly, and sustainably. Did I say effortlessly? Yeah, that's after some training, but that's true. I'll see you next time.